Welcome back. Well, volatility is the name of the game for the local unit. That's as the cabinet announcement draws nearer. This comes after the rand reached a record high following the formation of the Government of National Unity. RMB's fixed income and commodities strategist Manqoba Madinane joins us now to discuss this and other factors impacting the rand's performance and outlook. Thank you so much for your time, Manqoba. Now, you and I last spoke right before the elections, and then you could see the rand was at the beginning stages of this bullish momentum. What was the mood among currency traders when the rand actually went below 18 rand against the US dollar after the GNU outcome?
First of all, thank you for having me on this call. Welcome to everybody that's listening. First and foremost, I want to emphasize that we are fundamentalists. So we try to look through the noise and give guidance thereof. That said, our core fundamental view is that the rand is ultimately on its way to mean reversion. What we mean by that is that it's going to revert back to our fair value estimate, which is under 18. So we're not surprised that it did make that attempt. But we want to emphasize that that move towards the fair value estimate, which we see around that 1750 level, is going to happen in waves, right? And these waves are going to be governed by news flow. And currently, as you mentioned, we are in the midst of relative uncertainty. And I want to emphasize it's relative uncertainty, nowhere near the uncertainty levels we had going into the elections. I just want to emphasize also that personally and as well as a team, we're encouraged that we are in the midst of an ANC that went into these negotiations tactically prepared to drive towards a responsible outcome. So we are in the midst of a weakening wave, but we want to emphasize that the rand is heading towards our fair value estimate around that.
Yeah, and quite interesting because even the last time that you were here, you did mention, of course, that where you pegged fair value is at around 1750. I do also note that you've said that it will happen in waves, but right now we are in the midst of a weakening wave, and of course we have seen the rand sinking back above 18 rand against the US dollar. Is this just the uncertainty and anticipation of the cabinet announcement here?
Certainly, I'll say yes to that. But what I want to also emphasize is that the bond market also is giving us an opposing signal to that. So in the midst of the recent weakening in the rand this morning and through the day, the bond market actually was relatively resilient. What that is saying to us is that investors basically have always seen SA Inc. as being undervalued. A lot of them are underweight rand-based assets, and therefore we are not surprised by the influx of money on waves of weakness. So I think there is a sense that some investors are seeing this weakening wave as an opportunity to re-enter rand-based assets.
And indeed, we have even seen some of the foreign financial institutions now going overweight on South African assets. But we have, unfortunately, run out of time. Manqoba, thank you so much for your time and just taking us through the latest developments there on the rand. That was RMB's fixed income and commodities strategist, Manqoba Madinane.